MSI 2021 Semifinals. I am David Phreak Turley, joined by Jordan Corby, known as Lyric. Welcome. How's it going?
It's going great. We have RNG against PSG, a matchup that actually feels like it can go either way.
Yeah.
Joined by an OG in the other room. What's not to be happy about?
It's going to be fun. I am hoping for all 5 games. As you mentioned, I think this is actually very, very close best of 5, just via the fact that, look, RNG have looked incredibly mortal, and I think the strengths and weaknesses are very opposed here. Overall, I would consider PSG the strongest early game team left in the tournament, and on the other side, especially when you look at like the mid lane, the weakest early game team in RNG, who pick it up later on.
Yeah, it definitely feels like PSG Talon's strengths index really well into RNG's weaknesses are. You hit on that mid lane, and especially that early game, definitely feels like a point where RNG can be abused.
And I'm curious what's going to look like. Of course, they have found themselves in so many exciting wins on the RNG side for PSG Talon. You may have heard it in the opening analyst test segments. Virtually uncontested domestically. They lost a single game the entire split long. They had to replace their AD carry. Unified sadly couldn't make it for medical issues, so Doggo is in, but they did not change their style. They are heavily bottom focused. Their support, Kaiwing, is outstanding. He tops the charts in duo percentage, in jungle proximity, and they just get kill after kill after kill down there. You can put a laundry list of things that Kaiwing is rank 1 in.
And, you know, I like that you hit on their style because PSG are one of the teams, in my opinion, that have stuck to their style coming into the tournament. Been all about tempo, been all about picks. They've played with Maple roaming around the map. They played with Kaiwing getting out of laning phase and linking up with River. And we need to see RNG shut that down. Luckily for them, it definitely starts with that Zoe ban.
Yep, it's going to be fun. This is one of the things that our stats team and the casters had prepped up, what bans we expected to see. Zoe, a big one there. Cryin, not a big play on it. One of the thoughts is if the early game gets out of control too much and RNG loses map control and Maple just gets a setup with ward control and bubbles, there's no way back into the game. That may just be a mainstay here as one that's dropped off the table entirely. Jordan, you were talking to me about this before we got on camera, but it's something that's dear to my heart. Last year, Cryin's second most played mid laner was Rumble. He and Wei got together for a lot of jungle mid shenanigans, but we'll see if that ever does come back if RNG wants some mid priority.
Yeah, it's really interesting about RNG because Wei and Cryin coming from E-Stars, it was all about snowballing through mid jungle 2v2, Cryin on a bunch of early game centric champions, not the way RNG plays at all. And surprisingly, with everything that makes it through the Rumble Open, Morgana, the Kai'Sa's there, RNG wanting to go with this flex pick in the Lee Sin. Xiaohu has looked like a monster up in the top side. I think it is one of the places where RNG is clearly stronger than PSG. So now I want to see, hey, do PSG take away that premier bot lane that RNG kind of relied on?
Yeah, if you look at the most picked champions of MSI 2021, the ones that are actually on the Rift, Udyr, Kai'Sa, and the Nautilus are the top 3. Udyr right now is the hover. That's going to be locked in. Has been the overall most highly prized champion of MSI, picked and banned, by far the premier jungler. When you look at win rates, Wei is undefeated on Udyr at this tournament, has some losses on the Rumble and Morgana, so this actually takes his most successful one. I believe River's in a very similar boat where his Udyr has been very, very good. And Kai'Sa, the most picked champion of MSI, goes along as well. So PSG definitely had the cream of the crop right now.
Definitely, and now I want to see where RNG goes with it. Instantly locking in that Morgana is pretty surprising. I think it's looked like Wei's most uncomfortable champion out of those 3 that you mentioned. The analyst desk highlighted that they expected RNG to ban it, and GALA has not been playing much Tristana. He's only picked it once at this tournament, but wants to go with that pick. We have seen it's very strong against the Kai'Sa, especially at level 2 and 3, if you can find that rocket jump with the all-in.
Absolutely. So, looking to see if Nautilus shows up there. Again, I like the champion a lot into Tristana because it can be hard to rocket jump away from the crowd control successfully. But Gnar is, I think, 4th place in the priority list, and right now PSG just going down the list. And to be fair, RNG the same. Going down the list of the highly prized champions across solos, Gnar versus Lee Sin, very well be the top lane matchup. Keep in mind, Cryin has not played a Lee Sin game at MSI. Sure, it can be flexed, but right now it's only been on Xiaohu.
It's also not very much Cryin style champion, right? We've seen him stick to these either late game scaling mages or things like the Twisted Fate, things like the Rise, very much more traditional mid lane champions. But now I'm curious to see if we do start seeing support pools pinched, you know, what are we going to end up with? Because Ming has actually played 7 different supports. He's even pulled out things like the Gragas of this tournament. He's played the Karma. He has a game on the Rel, to where Kaiwing has mostly kept it more standard. He has had some Rakan games as well as a Galio game, but I feel like those are more niche. They need to come out in certain matchups. So I like that we see RNG kind of pinching that support pool, but hey,
yeah,
you're banning out the Galio. You're still going to have either Nautilus or Leona open.
Exactly, and keep in mind, red team picks first here, and you're almost certainly grabbing support and then, you know, saving counter pick from mid lane. So if you pinch too heavily, they just take the Leona or take the Nautilus, and you've got nothing left up. So Leona versus Not is likely to be the matchup we're seeing here. Rel banned away on the one side, just in case that ban is coming through. You can pinch the pool down a bit farther or further, but we can see what the final ban is going to be. I am curious. It is Nautilus, so Leona is the very obvious look here. I feel like that's a snap lock-in, and I'm curious what RNG thinks they're getting out of that.
Yeah, me too, and especially when you see the Galio ban, because Galio traditionally has only been a support against Leona. It could be a mid-lane ban. We know Maple's played it as well, so it's kind of serving 2 purposes when you are banning against PSG. The Alistar, also another champion that is open. It was Ming's most played during the regular split of LPL by a large majority. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that come out from RNG. Now the question is, where do we go with the mid lane? We do have an AP jungler, so you'd love to see AD soul laners come out, but with you banning the Nocturne and the enemy banning the Renekton, we might just see something standard come out. Ooh, you're right, Phreak. We get a Braum.
We get a Braum. I think it's been played once. It did not win. Orianna comes through for Cryin. Literally no one is surprised that Orianna is the blind pick mid lane you come along with. Now, of course, there's plenty of physical damage on the lineup. Lee Sin and Tristana have plenty. Morg and Ori. Sure, Merc Treads are going to be valuable in mid against those 2 champions, but we are just going to have that kind of standard look here, and Maple may just go for strict team fighting. Only played Azir once so far at MSI, but of course, any mid laner worth their salt has plenty of games in that champion. And as he goes back to it, this may well be the lock-in. And yeah, team fight power is here. And keep in mind, engage tools are sorely limited on RNG's side.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We know Maple is a premier Azir player in the PCS. It was his most played champion by far. But RNG's composition definitely looks a bit harder to execute in my mind, from the fact that, yeah, you don't have those same engage tools. It does have a lot of ability to kite back. Sure, the enemy has an Azir, but you have the Tristana on your side. We once again see that Xiaohu has a matchup he should be able to get Prio in the side lane with. If they can get him off to a good start, maybe you can try and find some fights with numbers advantages. But to me, RNG needs to be on objective first. They don't have that guaranteed engage, and we're going to see if PSG can find a lot of these winning fights with the Leona.
Yeah, I'm really interested in see what this game's going to look like. I kind of like the bot lane matchup for RNG as time moves on. It can be hard for Braum to get the opening setup because you land the Q, and that can be tough. It's skill shot, it gets blocked by minions, everything else, it's only as slow. But if Kaiwing ever goes in, Ming puts up the shield, and you just kind of win that trade. You guys just like both focus on the Leona, and Braum just tanks all the Kai'Sa damage and you know, does it well. And so ultimately it gets really tough to do anything special, so you can kind of wash bottom lane. The problem is Tristana actually falls off a bit as time goes on. I know people kind of consider her a late game carry. Rapid fire is good, the scaling range is good, but she actually, most of her power is in early game all-ins, and that's not going to be easy with a Braum support there. So that part falls off a little bit. And on the other side, of course, PSG have Azir. Azir is the absolute emperor of winning late game team fights on the carry mage. And so I really like the late game power of PSG, plus the fact that traditionally they've already tended to win their laning phase, so it feels really well-rounded.
The question is if this kind of composition can work for PSG, right? Because we haven't seen them be the strongest late-game team fighters.
Right.
They definitely have the tools to do it now, but they don't really have the tools to enable River in the early game to find a lot of these same advantages. Sure, he is on the Udyr, so he will be able to make a lot of things happen himself, but when push comes to shove and we're, 15, 20 minutes into the game, can PSG execute? That's something we still haven't seen.
We haven't, but we are on to the Rift now for game 1 of the best of 5. The LPL's Royal Never Give Up. And from the PCS, we have PSG Talon. Now, this is interesting. RNG come from, at this point now, a long line, they're included, of successful LPL teams. RNG were the second one, I guess, to set it up. Edward Gaming won MSI a few years back. RNG followed suit, and then we had back-to-back LPL World Champions. And finally, people said, hey, maybe the LPL is the best team in the world. That streak got dethroned by Damwon winning Worlds last year. RNG would love to flip that back over by winning this MSI and cementing the LPL back on top. On the other side, though, is PSG representing a league formerly the LMS, now known as the PCS, a league and a set of players, Maple included, who have never, ever, ever won an international best of 5. Teams like Flash Wolves and PSG Talon, they may get out of groups, they may make MSI semis, they may make world quarters, but they never, ever take down a top team in a BO5, and this feels like their first chance to strike and do it.
Definitely, I think it's the best chance that a PCS / going back to LMS team has had in a long time at an international event. Again, RNG are definitely favorites,
sure,
but I'm not counting out PSG. And also nice to see, one of the defining things about this game, I feel like, is, which bottom lane can start getting control of this laning phase. Sure, we do expect PSGs to get that control, because as you highlighted, Braum a bit more passive, not like Leona can all in, because Braum is more of a neutralizing pick overall. But maybe with the fact that PSG can get some bot lane prio, they can start to work with River once he makes it towards his bot side. Maybe get some deep vision, maybe start playing for some picks, and that could be a way that PSG start to open up this game and set up for that team fighting later on.
Absolutely the case. Keep in mind, no cleanse on Cryin. He's got teleport down there, so if Kaiwing can make that roam happen, that's going to be exciting. Setting up with River, who, again, more and more of these teams are prioritizing Udyr as the champion, and he's actually going for an early invade. Wei is going to finish his big wolf, and as they spot each other, this could be a little dangerous. Yeah, it just runs right back out. Orianna under the turret, cannot join, goes for the stun. Good rocket jump away. Trade back onto Braum, just doesn't mean very much. Kaiwing maybe could have saved the Q stun if he expected the rocket jump, but no harm, no foul. Bit of damage going either way. Mid laner's now battling as Maple jumps back in. Decent damage there on a Cryin, actually. Puts down a 200 HP, and the junglers are still battling because, hey, Hanabi has control with the Gnar, and as Smite was forced out from Wei, it is an easy blue steal for River. Nicely done. The invade down a camp, but a blue steal looks nice.
Yeah, feels great for River, right? He still hasn't even cleared his bot side quadrant, so he will be able to pick up some camps as well. I like the way that they twined it in with Maple forcing in the mid lane. Azir versus Orianna is a bit of an early winning matchup for the Azir with his range, and you already highlighted Hanabi. This has been how PSG Talon has been known to play, and they're already setting up River for that lead to where I expect to see PSG make more of these plays where they send River in for these invades.
Alrighty, walking around looking at the next play in the jungle as Blue is being attacked. River's going to have no problems with this one. As you mentioned, yeah, kept his entire bottom side up. So if you snapshotted it, he was down a camp. But Wei is now out of things to kill. He's on the way back. Krug's coming back up, so he's not going to really lose much time. But River can really, really power clear, can skip his first recall and just keep going for more camps, and should get a small farm lead as a result.
The good thing for Wei is, now he got his first reset off. He has his boots, so if he is on the map where he's like, okay, I have no camps up, he at least now has the onus to look for some sort of ganks. I don't think any of the lanes look that gankable. Maybe top if Xiaohu gets the wave in a good position and Hanabi is mini Gnar. But point is, he at least now has ways to start affecting the map. But still, anytime River gets into his face, I think Wei will be having a bit of a rough time because we're going to have bounce backs now as Ming.
That's a nice
saying hello.
Yeah, again, this is all Braum can do is walk up and slow Kaiwing, and he's like, okay, I'll walk back, no big deal. The wave now, okay, it's GALA and Ming just hard shoving it. They don't want to have this wave slowly pushed back. They would like to get their first recalls off. Should be just shy of Noon Quiver, but already you can see Doggo has come back with double longsword, and now that GALA's going to lose the recall. So I don't know exactly what happened, but Doggo and Kami did a great job of managing to get the lane to equal CS while also being up in items. GALA really wants to recall since he's down 20 AD, but doesn't get the chance to because the wave's going to keep freezing.
It's also tragic too, right? Because we look at the mini-map and Wei is on the top side. You expect him to be going for a recall soon because he is just finishing off his Gromp. I don't think they can make anything happen in this top lane right now. Hanabi does have TP. Does look like he's going to play respectfully and back, but luckily for GALA, he is on the Tristana. They were able to get the wave finally pushed in, but does he get it? No.
Has to guess. That's good. That's good, of course, by GALA. Everyone kind of assumes it's the middle brush, so picks a different one this time around. Yeah, the guesswork doesn't go quite quickly, but because it was a few waves later, now he does get Noon Quiver, so a great power spike for GALA. We expect PSG to hard shove, and because they now know the recall came through, they have control for the Dragon. So the first objective of the game is going to go pretty easily to PSG, but look at this, RNG going topside.
Yeah, and we see the Iron Spike Whip on Xiaohu already as well, so having some nice damage here. He does have his kick up, but Sonic Wave can't connect, Phreak.
Yeah, the big thing was Mega Gnar was about to show up, and you do not dive level 6 Mega Gnar. So, PSG Talon strike first in the game, grabbing an Ocean Drake. Again, we expect them to win the early game. These teams have played each other several times. They've played other contemporaries here at the MSI Rumble stage. And look, PSG have maybe the best early game among the 4 teams remaining. RNG, though, They got second seed. They won these games because their mid game has been better, their team fighting has been better. And we're going to wait for that stage to see if it flips back around. So far, so good, though, for PSG.
Yeah, and right, their composition overall is just so well-rounded in the sense that they do win early game, they are able to get lane prio, and they still have the setup for the late game team fighting. I feel like they're going to be fine just kind of sitting on that first Drake, now giving River room to start clearing his camps. He does still hold on to that advantage that he did find from the initial invade onto Wei's jungle. And now for RNG, I don't really see many ways that they can break open the state of the map or start finding their own advantages. We've already seen once them trying to go for that playing top lane, and for me, that's really all they can do. They can just keep trying to rinse and repeat that, but it's only going to get harder to dive Hanabi. He already has the plated steel caps, also probably sitting on some gold, so can get more tank stats as well. And yeah, if it just comes to that, we're just going to wait for RNG to hit some breakpoints to where they can start posturing in front of neutral objectives.
Nice power spike there, level 7 Lee Sin, E plus active, one-shots the backline. And okay, you gonna battle for this? Yes, okay, bit of damage. Jumps back, however, still gets kicked around and stunned as well. Xiaohu without an ultimate might not matter. They, I guess, are probably not gonna fight for Rift Herald in 30 seconds then if it gets to be an early play. Obviously, Dragon's down, that's not gonna be important cooldown for that one. And now, River going in, Maple gonna flash follow, and that's a stun right away. Absolutely no way out for Cryin. Shockwave, flash chase, first blood for PSG Talon.
And the emote coming out as well. You love to see it. We highlighted how this would be one of the breaking points for PSG was the fact that Maple overall has had a better tournament than Cryin. He's been a playmaker. Clement highlighted it perfectly in the Rumble stage. He loves to play his Azir very aggressively and go in and look for these picks. We're gonna see if Wei can take the Rift Herald on the opposite side, but Hanabi looks like he's making his way over. He's gonna back off.
Yeah, okay, it's gonna be... Yeah, Hanabi knocking down the wave. Lee Sin gonna sacrifice the farm initially, make sure he's covering Herald. You can see Xiaohu, yeah, still sticking around. He's waiting, he says, okay, make sure he knocks one down in time in case Udyr shows up. And as River's just going for farm, this is gonna be RNG. And by the way, of the teams alive in the tournament, they top the stats in first Herald and first turret as a result.
And we're gonna go into the replay. Maple going in, forcing out the flash from Cryin. Nice job by Maple holding onto that flash to then hit the Emperor's Divide. Wow. River able to stun him down, flashes in for the follow-up kill, and just overall a nice win for the side of PSG. Sure, Maple might not have his flash as well, but they're going to be able to keep this mid lane push going.
Okay, here we go. No plates taken in mid just yet. Double checking my stats. Yeah, CSD at 15 on average for Cryin from the Rumble stage, minus 13.4. This is par for the course in the mid lane. Leads his team in ISO deaths, leads mid laners in ISO deaths. This is normal gameplay. Sadly, his laning, no, it has not been outstanding, but the mid game has gotten better from there. The Herald that they normally get, yep, that one's already happened here as well. RNG are honestly playing their average game so far at MSI. PSG Talon, a little bit not the same since there have not been any bot lane ganks. They are leaving that lane alone. Doggo and Kaiwing are just farming back and forth. 4 CS difference, not a big deal.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, when we look especially at RNG and hitting on those Cryin stats, I feel like a big thing is his champion pool. He doesn't really play any like lane dominant champions that you would expect him to start finding these leads from. We've seen the Silas, we've seen the Orianna, the Twisted Fate, the Rise. There's been a number of these things. Doesn't play the Zoe, hasn't played it since 2019. Syndra not really in the meta. Showmaker's been picking it up, but that's about it. And then like we highlighted earlier, for some reason, Cryin and Wei, RNG just doesn't have that same mid-jungle attention that E-Star did in 2020 where both of them come from. So still RNG gonna take it slow. We do see the Kindle Gen coming out on Hanabi, so getting some more tank stats. But with PSG all hovering towards the top side, maybe we start to get some action.
Could be, but you have to expect with Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, you eventually move down towards bottom side. But yeah, Kaiwing just put 2 wards down in that top left side of the map, you know, spotting out some movements may be available. Wei, indeed, maybe just cross-mapping here, but you can see Hanabi. Look, he's about to be Mega Gnar, so you can't easily tower dive him, but you can get a lot of turret damage. Turrets down to 4k health. Half of that will die just to the Rift Herald charge. The question is, can any more damage be dealt as Dragon now spawns in 15. Doggo takes some decent damage. GALA burns the ult, but I like that a lot. Doggo is basically out of mana. He's gonna have a really hard time team fighting. Yeah, he'll knock down the minions here, but has nothing else to do. As River's waiting around by Krugs, they are not gonna burn Rift Herald. It's going to be a reset for Wei instead, walking down the bottom side. Neither jungler actually anywhere near that objective.
Now it makes you wonder if RNG are going to be the team to try to set up for a Dragon play, right? Because Wei still has that Herald, can just drop down the bot lane, try and get them some plates. We see the TP. It looks like it's just about to be up for Xiaohu, if not already up. So you always have the potential for a 5-man play down on the bottom half of the map. I still do think PSG are a bit stronger right now if something breaks out, but you do have the playmaking potential on RNG's champions, especially from all the mechanical outplays from Lee Sin or the rocket jump from GALA to make something happen.
Level 10 now for Maple, 9 for Cryin with 0 bonus AP anywhere in his build. Merc treads to try to deal with Udyr stuns to run away, and otherwise just sustain tool. So a very slow build here for Cryin. Gonna sit there and wait around. Maple not going for the turret just yet. Could have put in a few autos before the wave died, but not gonna make that one happen here. Wei clearing out the Raptors, and we may see the Dragon under fire soon. Neither team feeling that comfortable just yet. And Rift Herald is down to 30 seconds remaining, so Wei has to burn this very soon. Top lane fight, Q's gonna land pretty good damage, but of course all the tank stats, Hanabi having the plated steel caps and whatnot, not gonna be too big of a difficulty. There comes the Herald summon. And bot lane turret has taken some decent damage, so RNG get probably nearly the entire turret off this.
Yeah, and that's something we have to highlight as well, right? GALA already has his Kraken Slayer, so at a pretty strong point for the Tristana, they should be able to force these guys off. I don't expect anything more to happen. River's on his way, and
GALA has turret dagger, careful, buddy.
Ooh, GALA.
Got out of range, okay.
We know GALA always plays on a knife's edge, something that's not too different for RNG, but Maple also has a TP as well, so I think RNG definitely need to pace themselves with, you know, whatever shenanigans we can see they are clearly planning.
Yeah, Dragon not important. Gold income is what matters. 4 turret plates taken bottom side. GALA has been outstanding so far this tournament. I think unanimously considered the best bot laner performing at MSI. He truly is outstanding. And he's got a bunch of gold already on the Mythic, as we mentioned. Ult's going to be burned. Hanabi at the very tail end of Gnar. Play in mid lane, not quite going to happen. Ulti's still safe. Shaka comes across now. And now to the bottom side, Doggo pushed back into the turret at 250 health. Ming takes it. GALA walks in. Summoner heal. The Q's going to land the turret. It was warmed up and it shuts him down.
No. Oh, and PSG looks like they're going to turn.
Nice slow, though.
Yeah, Ming really on point with that. And I like that RNG saying, hey, we're pulling attention mid, we're pulling attention top. This is our chance to look for this play bot. But GALA had already tanked up those shots earlier, as you had mentioned. He was taking damage during the whole dive, and it's just a bit tragic for RNG.
Yeah, turret aggro, a little wrong place, the wrong time, unfortunately. I think Ming could have maybe intentionally taken one more shot, I'm not sure, but PSG, off of that second kill of the game, managed to come back and grab second Dragon.
Yeah, and you know, we're gonna go straight into the replay. GALA goes for it. Does go with the ultimate maybe a little bit too early. Ming still holding turret aggro, doing his job, throws out the Q, and then, yeah.
Okay, he dropped aggro too early.
Yeah, definitely could have held on for one more.
All right, that is a rare mistake. Ming has really been good, but that is a mistake to drop the aggro. That is the entire reason. I think they even lost Dragon, because GALA, being alive, there's no way you get to sneak that one away from him. So, small mistake there. But the gold has basically tied back up. 300 gold separates these teams. But PSG Talon with double Drakes picked up, moving towards Cloud Soul. That's going to pretty much feel real good. And on the scoreboard, you favor PSG, but we're into the mid game now. Stun's going to land on a Ming. Decent damage, but there's no way tank Udyr knocks down a Braum, even without items.
And, you know, I feel like we're getting into a really rough part for RNG where we said, right, they don't have the engage. So if this comp wants to fight, it typically needs to be on whatever objective it wants to fight first, kind of use that objective as the engage to mesmerize you and pull you in. But the fact that PSG have been the ones with the lane prio in mid, I think it's going to be quite hard for RNG unless, as we see now, Xiaohu can force this matchup a bit further.
Flash kick, Q's gonna land, they just chain the bindings, that's the setup you're looking for. Top lane difference, a beautiful setup by Xiaohu.
Yeah, just, you know, perfect layering of CC like you said. I love the flash coming out to make sure that then Wei can get in range for the binding. His flash did have to come out too, but not a big deal. GALA!
Big jump in, stun's gonna land, exhaust, 2 more autos will kill him, and GALA takes him. And on the way back out, Ignite is timed out, stun's gonna land on Kaiwing, can he get the damage? Rocket jump for the slow, gets him, and the flash to safety, Kaiwing! You magnificent player. And now it's time for River to flash back in. Phoenix stance on, dissonance is just enough to get Cryin to safety.
And now we're getting the match I expected. These two teams have the highest champion kills per minute left out of the tournament. Maple
wants to go in, but doesn't go for the ulti backwards, doesn't scoop Ming. I thought he was gonna be in range, but doesn't make the play. Ultimately, there's not gonna be a kill. The TP from Hanabi does nothing.
Yeah, and we had so much action. I thought GALA had Kaiwing in the end, but holds on to his flash and is able to get away. Hanabi's about to be Mega. Ooh, way though.
Yeah, fighting now. No ult from Morgana. Black Shield is on. Pop now. Smite takes it, but way in danger. I like the blue trigger in case he tried to flash over the wall. In case he had it, there would have been an ult follow. Kill comes across. So thanks for the red buff leash. That's going to go back on the Doggo. 4-3 in kills. Close game.
And I'm assuming that Wei thought there'd be more members of PSG bot side because you see both Hanabi and Maple showing on the wave. So you can assume, hey, maybe their whole team is sitting at Vision playing around that half of the map. We do see that River also has his bot camps up, but unfortunately for Wei, that was not the case. They make their way towards top side. And now not only having two Drakes, they're also going to pick up this second Rift Herald as well. I feel like they should have a lot of areas where they could use this because, again, they've been the ones pushing most of their lane, so they can very easily rotate onto, you know, something like a mid lane and be able to break down that turret.
I think right now, looking at this game, RNG, of course, up in gold 1300. This credit, I think, entirely, not entirely, but 80% of it goes to Xiaohu. Keep in mind, they got first Herald, but they summoned it bot. He's still got first turret top lane.
Yeah, Xiaohu's been an absolute monster. But we're going to see here GALA also trying to channel his inner monster. They are able to take down Doggo. And then here it's so close. Does also have minion aggro. Looks like he was going to be able to get it, but sadly gets locked down. Nice by River to lock him up. Maple, though, goes for the play.
Shuffle back. Xiaohu ward hops away, but, oh, that kick is really nice as well. River can't get any more of the stuns across, so he lives from a ward hop and an ultimate. And now as GALA walks mid, he wants up the turret to kill.
Yeah, RNG, they do have numbers advantage. They did just clear out bottom wave, but still with PSG rotating, they're not going to be able to find anything. But going back to your last point, Xiaohu has been the one, in my opinion, this whole tournament, right? Where whenever RNG are falling behind, it is those cross-map plays coming from Xiaohu that have kept them even in gold and then be able to find those later wins either from backdoors or from split pushing or flanks. So definitely like that they got him on the Lee Sin. I think it's been one of his more proficient champions at this tournament, and it gives him a lot of playmaking power in these fights.
It does, and I'm going to be watching for it still. Of course, went for the tankier build. We sometimes do see Stride Breaker on Lee Sin. It's more of a rarity, but it's still an option. Going for more of the frontline option. Keep in mind, only Braum as your other melee champion. You do need some level of frontline there. Kaiwing got to find the stun, but as Ming flashed away, the ult's not going to land anywhere close. Still, a flash burn is good.
Nice by PSG to punish Ming walking into River by himself. We see that Wei was coming out of base. Cryin also just happened to recall. Looks like RNG might want to find something, though, because Xiaohu's coming in on the flank.
Okay, watch out for the Lee Sin. Can he find Maple? Blue Trigger's going to spot the roam. They called that he was missing. What's the team fight going to look like? Turret will not quite die to the charge, but gets very dangerously low. Could not commit for Demolish, and that turret's going to stay alive at about 1k health. So PSG gets some damage. Binding is good damage. I mean, anytime you have rain damage like that, that bind sets up for, 600 damage to come across. Kaiwing, it would walk away, though. But at half health, that is a bit of danger. And that might make the team fight a bit more difficult as wards are swept out. The third dragon is alive, but RNG own the river.
Yeah, I think we need to keep our eye on Hanabi because his rage bar is stacked up, and he could potentially find a flank. Looks like PSG actually are just going to give this one away, though, with Kaiwing recalling after taking that chunk. I like that RNG are now starting to realize, hey, we can contest these Drakes. They're realizing they have to play around that side lane pressure with Xiaohu to force or at least scare PSG into thinking, hey, this flank could happen, to push them away from the objectives. Now we're going to see, hey, they're going to start grouping around mid again. I don't think they have much potential of finding any picks, but maybe start seeing some resets and seeing them managing their side lanes with Maple now pushing it top.
Not going to find the stun. GALA sidesteps it pretty adeptly, and honestly, there was no counterpunch anyway. Almost all of RNG is sitting in mid, and there are only 2 to deal damage, so a waste of an ultimate, but this turret should likely fall as the rest of the squad comes around. Xiaohu's here. Hey, it's time to go for the kill yet again. Kaiwing is just set up on a silver platter, and he turns into gold. Alchemy before our eyes. As now Hanabi has to run away. Q's not going to land, gets to walk back to his wave. And all the skill shots, Q after Q after Q, but none of them can hit.
And I'm just really surprised that Kaiwing threw out that ultimate, right? Because I feel like one of the things that would dissuade RNG from being able to push that play all the way in mid lane is the fear and the threat of the potential lockdown coming out from the Leona. And once you waste that one, that is just all gone.
Okay, big play for Maple, shuffles into a stun and away, jumps around, gonna find the kill, yes, but it's traded back 1 for 1, as now River has to just simply run away. GALA, though, finds himself the slow, 2 autos will kill, a flash to safety, but there is the rest of it. The ulti guarantees it, but they have no jungler.
Oh, you're right. Wei goes down, but still, I feel like this trade definitely favors for RNG. Trading Maple for Wei, you're going to take that every time. Maple's been one of the members getting the most gold on the side of PSG, and now RNG just going to get a bit of a break. They're going to be able to default to resetting up their side waves. They have a 3K gold lead right now, and Xiaohu's still strong. His ultimate actually just coming up, and Hanabi's isolated.
Happens to sidestep. That was all from Fog of War.
Yeah, and we're going to see here, it was PSG who waited for this. And remember, this is right after Kaiwing went down, so I'm kind of surprised they opted into this. Did end up being a 1-for-1 at first. Double TPs coming out from RNG, not even necessary because they have enough burst. River does go down, but like you said, sadly, we did see Wei go down at first. And Wei, pretty serious about something.
And honestly, trading your jungler for mid plus, I think it was mid plus jungle yourself, like that's outstanding here. So really, really nicely done. At the very end, we saw Doggo had to burn flash. That was your new Axe Effect replay, by the way. And now we are into the game again where the Dragons are closer, but the gold lead, 2,500 to RNG, going the way we expected. RNG coming away so far in the mid game.
Definitely, and you know, I like, as our tweet's highlighting, we get some play-making champions coming out from Maple and Xiaohu. Yes. These are two of the long-standing members, not even just on these teams, right, but like in the community and in League of Legends overall. So you always love when they have some onus, as now we're going to start getting into the battle of Vision for Baron buff. And for me, this is where RNG is really going to thrive, right? Because they're going to be able to group mid. You have the Morgana, Orianna, and Tristana to, I think, win the contest over mid-wave. And now is where they should be able to start getting into River first, getting down some wards, and hopefully getting PSG to run into your composition where Braum really thrives.
Xiaohu going for the blue buff steal right now. And okay, it's leashing its patience and going to reset all the way. That's okay, just being annoying and buying some time. Still almost 2 minutes on the Dragon respawn. Don't screw it up. Screwed it up. Nice. I mean, you tried to burst it. Tormented Soil took the last hit. You can just wait a couple hundred health, Maple, and auto it a bit later. End of the day, that was an avoidable mistake. Even stalwart veterans like Maple can make these kinds of things. So, hey, don't flame your teammates in solo queue. Even the best in the world can get those things wrong. But it's still 3,000 gold to RNG. They have only made good choices, it feels, for the last 10 minutes.
And this is where we especially see their good choices, right? Because they're keeping Cryin in the side lane. We've already seen them consistently pushing out their bot wave, so they're going to be pulling PSG across the map. And I want to do a bit of an item check-in because we are starting to get a lot of those big items coming out. Doggo picking up the Collector definitely feels like it'll be a big one if they can find, you know, either a massive play from Kaiwing or Hanabi setting up for him to follow in and find that burst down either onto Wei or GALA. But also the Sterix Gauge coming out for Xiaohu, going to give him more sustain. And again, he's just going to keep bullying Hanabi in the side lane. And I really don't think there's much Hanabi can do.
Yeah, that's why they first picked the Lee Sin, instantly went for it, and it worked really well. Black Shield was on from Wei, and that means Maple is just gone. But it's still traded back as a re-engage came across. Wei going to be shut down. A 2-for-1 team fight. PSG Talon coming alive as Kaiwing flashes in for the Sun into Xiaohu. Gets kicked, but only onto River. He's too tanky. Shockwave sets up 3, and the ulti just means nothing from Ming. There just isn't enough crowd control or enough damage with GALA already dead and Cryin being the only damage left. So PSG Talon walk away from 2 ultimates still right now with a jungler alive and 4v3 on the map.
And I definitely think this should be just a free dragon for PSG. I'm surprised RNG are contesting. We already see the Shockwave gone. The kick from Lee Sin is down. I'm not sure if they can really go for this, but looks like they just want to posture to try to force PSG away. Kaiwing, though, looking for the flank.
Look for it. Lee Sin not going to get the QXQ for the re-engage, though. Keep in mind, it is a 4 versus 3. Xiaohu's already ward hopped. 8 seconds left in that cooldown. Slow's going to land. Next stun for Kaiwing will set it up, but the Gore Drinker buys time. Not enough, though. A flash from Ming gets away from the Mega Gnar. As the respawns come in, the health bars are a little low on PSG's side. But 2 teamfight victories and soul point for PSG Talon.
And that just feels so strange from RNG to contest that, knowing they have numbers disadvantage and knowing that they don't have those big AoE abilities to even force from that position. We're going to see here what happened because initially it looked pretty good for RNG. The Black Shield comes out onto GALA. He gets away. They're going to burst out Maple, but keep your eyes on GALA because instantly just gets chunked by Doggo coming in. And I think that trade is lopsidedly in favor of PSG. Not only are they then able to take down Wei, Xiaohu here though wants to get onto Doggo. I think that was a really nice flash in from Kaiwing trying to dissuade that from happening. And earlier, Phreak, you said we're not going to see Cryin doing damage for quite a while in this game. And that Shockwave would have been beautiful, but he just doesn't have the damage to really follow up on it.
Nope. Mythic finally done, has Luden's Echo. Went Seraph's first, by the way, off the early tier. So on 2 items, but it's Merc Treads, right? He went for defensive boots. He's a stopwatch. He's just not that big right now. Trails most bin litters and damage per minute as well, by the way. Cryin really is just not the benefactor very often in RNG. He's just there to be some teamfight utility, but that means if GALA is not there to fight, they don't have that much damage, right? It is a fairly tanky Lee Sin build, can be threatening, but if you don't assassinate, you don't have the frontline killing. Here we're gonna try again as River finds a stun. Ming comes around, now slowed up, has the shield on, not gonna be a huge issue there. Cryin now rejoining the fight. And we'll see what the next move is going to be. Obviously, Baron is on the table, has been for 6 minutes. But Dragon Soul comes in 3.
Yeah, and you know, I think if you're PSG, you can honestly just keep chilling. You could just keep putting down your wards, taking away these jungle camps, wait that one out, force the fight then. They still do have some timers they can play around, right? As we can see right now, Hanabi's Gnar bar is stacked up. So if a fight broke out now, I think they should definitely be favored. And now my question is, how does RNG really break open the flow of the game again? Because I think you made a great point that if GALA goes down, it just feels like it's over for RNG, to where if you take down Maple, there's still Doggo. Even Hanabi now has a really big impact on a fight, as looks like they're collapsing on Wei. You might get a Wei, but
yeah.
Xiaohu though.
Well, he's channeling Summoner Teleport, and he's flanking the mid lane. There could be a battle here, to be honest. The entire squad is around. Maple gets around, and suddenly Xiaohu realizes, wait a second, they saw me, and just goes down before anyone can do anything to react. That stun, though, huge. Braum Q sets it up, I believe, and nearly gets the kill on River.
So close, but Xiaohu thought he was going for the flank, but sadly, like you said, they saw him, so really just flanking himself. RNG not in a position to really follow up on that one. Surprise River wasn't ranged to be chunked so low. We do have Tristana on 3 items, but Doggo is there as well. 2 minutes until Dragon. Honestly, knowing RNG, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for any type of cheeky Baron plays, but with Xiaohu not on the map, it feels like for now they're just playing the waiting game.
Yeah, playing the waiting game. RNG focused around their back line. Problem is their backliners aren't as good as PSG's. Their frontliners not as strong either, so I think it's gonna be up to adept plays. Wei landing a sick binding, Xiaohu getting a sick flank, but that's on cooldown for a while.
Yeah, now we're gonna see how it all started off, right? Because initially it looked like PSG were collapsing on Xiaohu. Does come in, like you said, spotted by the minion wave. He goes down, but I want to keep my eye on how River gets chunked so low. Oh, just starts to run in, gets tagged by the Braum Q, like you said. Yeah. And I mean, GALA is just massive at this point.
Halo Blade's Trist, like that is a lot of damage really fast. And yes, that is a big thing, and I'm glad you pointed it out. GALA was part of 2 of the 3 turret kills, was part of all 5 pates taken in the bottom lane, despite the CS being close, the kills being close. He is huge, has Infinity Edge done, a really, really scary Trist right now in the mid game.
And right, the thing is, like, sure, you're going to be able to hit frontline whenever PSG comes in, but we've seen PSG have just been playing the tempo game like they've been known for, trying to find isolated picks on side lanes. And when we highlight the way that RNG wants to fight, it's like, sure, you can go front to back. You need it to be on PSG's terms. But the thing I'm more afraid of is that it's going to be very hard for Xiaohu to find these flanks like he's been looking for, because there's a lot of zone control coming out on the side of PSG. Empress Divide, River can honestly even just stand back near his carries and act as a stun bot. Hanabi's going to have that Mega Gnar. Kaiwing's there. You just have a lot of ways to peel for the carries on the side of PSG.
Dragon Soul spawning in 20 seconds, though. How good's the peel going to be when the team fight starts? There is still a gold difference on RNG's side, but PSG have the extra stats from Mountain Drake that helps kind of tighten that one slightly. A lot of move speed picked up there on the Gnar and the Udyr, and right now RNG own mid lane and they own the bottom river. So Black Shield from Wei, well timed, means nothing out of Kaiwing. And with that ultimate down, I feel like Dragon might be easy, but they have to keep in mind that there's always a chance at a Baron rush. I mean, Azir Kai'Sa is going to kill that fast.
That's the thing, right? And that trade is so in favor of PSG. They've set this up by the fact that they took those first 3 dragons, and they're going to go for it. Now RNG are the ones who have to respond.
GALA solos it. Dragon's under fire, undead. Now Baron's under fire. Ming walking up, Xiaohu a bit far away. The question is, where does the jungler show up? Wei shows in. Ming in the front line, 2k health. It's going to be a smite fight. Wei is there, and he cannot get the smite. River claims it, but is it going to be enough now? Hanabi nowhere close to Mega Gnar. Stun's going to land. That's going to be 2 kills, no problem. RNG get the Drake. They lose the Baron, but with 2 kills, it's close.
Yeah, definitely a close trade. Honestly, not sure who this really favors. PSG, we know their composition has been mostly about grouping up as 5 and playing together as a strong unit. I do think it'll be tough to siege down any turrets on the side of RNG. Maybe you can get some, right? Bot lane outer is almost done. You can group up as 5, maybe take mid, but I definitely think RNG are fine with the trade that they took. You stop Soul from going over, have a second cloud yourself, got some more gold in your pocket, and heck, they're actually still winning in the gold trade. And I found this very cheeky from PSG. I really like Maple over the wall, getting most of this damage down on it. We're just going to see here, Wei walking in, yeah, just not able to get that smite down. Actually, looks like he did smite and just got outsmited by...
He was the first smite, and it was like 960, right? So he was the first smite, and Udyr was the second smite, and he got it. So, hey, grats to River, but that was, I mean, realistically a coin flip, right?
Yeah.
Junglers are basically alone inside the pit saying who's going to press D correctly, and it happened to be River timing it better. But RNG, they owned mid lane, right? So the Red Bull Baron buff is on, 2 minutes on that one, okay, cool. But RNG on mid, GALA got to solo the dragon, so PSG still not getting towards Soul just yet. And they happen to win this Might coin flip. Like, that does not give me a lot of confidence.
It doesn't. And it's also very funny because, you know, from casting LPL is the region of coin flip, Aaron. So to me, RNG are probably very at home going for that. Obviously, they didn't win out. So PSG, props to you beating, you know, the Baron Burger flip kings. But now it's really just going to be a game down to execution, right? Because both of them have very good 5v5 team comps. Both execute in very different ways. And PSG, they just want to keep up the pressure they have because they're trying to get some deep vision down in RNG's jungle.
Yeah.
And now I'm just looking at, you know, can Kaiwing find that massive engage because he's flopped a lot of these ultimates.
Oh, Kaiwing gets rooted out. This is going to be decent damage, actually. You could take that Q. It'd actually be safe. And the thing is, RNG have the vision to know that it's reasonably safe to go for that play, but their team is pretty far out. So, okay, just some poke and you're done with it. But the Baron buff timing out pretty soon, right? I don't believe we got even a single turret killed during this buff. Again, you get the surge of 1,500 gold. You get a surge of XP as well, by the way. I think people underrate the permanent benefit of Baron. Everyone gets 300 gold permanently. Everyone gets half-level XP permanently. Even if you lose the buff and you get nothing for it, you still get that gold and that level. So that is useful no matter what happens with the buff. You still get some permanent power.
Yeah, and, you know, even then just adding on to it the fact of, like, taking it off the map. Now the enemy can't go for any plays, you know, forcing you to a Baron or getting a Baron. So definitely nice for the side of PSG. They did get one turret. It was that bot lane outer, but that was, like, on 100 HP anyway. As Maple and Doggo go in.
Black Shield and Flash now forced out for Wei. So nice attempt there. Doggo, I think, landing the W into the ultimate and just kind of self-sets up. Kaiwing, of course, ulti down now as well, but that could be an important cooldown. There's no flash for Wei for this dragon fight in 2 minutes.
No, and, you know, that definitely going to be an impactful summoner. He will have the Predator at the time if he does want to look to start a fight himself, but I think luckily for the side of RNG, right, they're just going to continuously be the ones kiting out the team fight. We'll have the Zanya, so we'll still have a bit of safety. But I feel like now we're just looking at the next item breakpoints. We do finally have the Void Staff on Cryin. I think that is massive. This will be where we start to see those shockwaves really have impact on these team fights. But on the opposite side, Doggo coming out with a GA. We have Azanias on Maple, so they can at least survive that like first rotation of spells and threat coming out from RNG.
Right, having tools against the Lee Sin backwards kick or a shockwave or something. Right, in Maple's case, he just Zonias and immunes it, or he gets kicked in because you can't like waste a Lee Sin kick cooldown with Zonias. You have to like either let him just kick you afterwards or let him kick you in the first place. But he can at least buy the time afterwards. And in Doggo's case, obviously, he can just revive and keep the fight going. So that'll be something to watch for sure. The front line looks really good though. Randuin's Omen done for Hanabi. He can really just hamper GALA's damage output by a lot. I think that's going to be super, super relevant. Dragon up in 40 seconds. Baron is timed out. The shopping has been completed for everybody. We're going to have this climactic fight soon.
Yeah, now we're going to see PSG are the ones with control of River. Hanabi still doesn't have his Mega Gnar bar stacked up at all, so he's going to want to be looking to auto, hopefully on that next wave. And now we're just going to have this mid lane contest where we talked about RNG's comp is actually very good at being able to be on mid wave first and push that one out. So it's very easy for them to be able to retake vision. We can see if Hanabi pushes out bot wave and maybe tries to force a flank of his own. Again, if he can get on the backline carries, find a massive Gnar ultimate, as we've seen many times this tournament, could definitely be a way for PSG to win the game. So PSG, we're looking for side wave control. RNG, they're in that 5v5 formation where it's front to back, as we talked about.
But they're stuck through a choke point right now, and honestly, Orianna loves choke points. Keep the ball there, it's never going to be easy. Mabel wants to jump in, but it's way too late. They just cannot fight through this one. And PSG, 2 times in a row now, just do not have the control to contest the dragons, and now RNG is on sole point.
And I definitely think that last one comes down from the fact that they sat on their bot wave for so long, because they should never really be able to contest mid wave unless they find an engage or a pick first. Nice by RNG to also turn that into a turret, but you know, the fact that they weren't able to set up that side wave to at least set up another point of control where they can enter River, I think is a bit of a blunder from the side of PSG.
It is, but this is what we expect. You know, these no team in the world is perfect. You've got strengths, you've got weaknesses, and the sum total of those are what you are as a team. RNG have a weak laning phase, but they get first Herald with everyone else, they get first turret with everyone else, and that turns them around in the mid game for their shot calling. They've been clever in ending games, whether they're base races or backdoors or any other smart positioning. That's the sum total of them as a team. They are smart and clever, and they get through a rough laning phase. On PSG's side, they are the opposite. They have had the early game plays, but their team fighting, their macro, their map control, that's what lets them down as time goes on.
And it feels like, right, that's also a byproduct of how dominant they are in their region, right? You're never going to really get the practice to enhance those aspects where your early game prowess and your laning phase are enough to only drop one game in your region. And it's going to come down to maybe PSG feeling like, hey, we need to force something. Maybe we go and try to flip a Baron once again.
Yeah, well, some dead ward vision lets them know, and now without control especially, they really know what's going on, and they know PSG have left that brush entirely. Ming's chair goes all the way through the brush, so he knows for sure they are gone. Instead, PSG set up a little bit of Baron bait, and they get mid priority, but now it means that, okay, RNG have to answer mid now, so you can try again for Baron control. You can try to knock down the wards and see if you can get it.
And the thing RNG's trying to do, as we can see Xiao on the side wave, right? They're trying to pull Hanabi away from the rest of his team. Now it'll be RNG's window where they can have a Xiaohu hover towards mid and they could enter river safely as they're doing on our screen. Even if he wants, he could even start taking that bottom side scuttle, give himself a bit more safety, but they're just going to look to start the Baron.
Was a bit of vision. They know what's going on here. River has the way over. They can get some vision. He can blast planet, but he's got to time it right. He won this fight last time. Buster shot! GALA makes it 100-0. Absolutely beautiful. Who needs smite when you've got Tristana?
And this is why we've said, oh, Doggo, though, going in.
I like the play, though. They forced the exhaust. They forced everything out they could have possibly, nearly getting the kill. But GALA had backup.
This is why we've been talking about GALA as the best AD in the tournament. Like you hit on it earlier, Phreak, but it's pretty much universally agreed on. He's been performing out of his mind at this tournament. As someone who in the LPL regular season was, pretty good, I'd say above average for sure, but definitely not in the conversation with people like Jackie Love or Viper at the time, goes into playoffs, has a standout performance, and then once again, on the biggest stage of them all, right? An international event against the best teams in the world. Yep. The fact that he's making plays like this is so impressive.
Yeah, and it's so fun as well because, again, this is the sort of resurgence of the LPL as the #1 region. RNG would be the first team to have 2 international titles from the LPL. Cool, EDG won MSI. Cool, IG and Fun Plus Phoenix won Worlds. But RNG were second in line. They won MSI back when. They're going to maybe win it again here. They're beating PSG in Game 1. They 2-0 down 1. They're likely opponent in the finals. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but they are the position where they can make that run. And RNG getting the second LPL trophy to their name, that is exciting. And we'll see if that one's going to happen. 1.5 minutes to go until someone is getting Dragon Soul. PSG got the first couple, but RNG have fought back again and again and again. And with this Baron buff, it feels so likely that they claim that.
And also now we're getting to full builds, right? Both AD carries have 6 items at this point. We see that GALA actually picked up the Bloodthirster. So wanting more sustain in these fights, actually the side of PSG don't have a ton of burst, right? So no one really should be able to come in instantly one-shot you. So he realizes, hey, I'm going to be able to sustain throughout these fights. On the side of PSG, Doggo, I think still has his GA active, so he should be completely fine. A second Randuin's for River. Again, that's going to be massive when you know the main damage dealer for RNG is GALA. And yeah, I feel like we're finally at a point where both teams are in a position where, if they get the correct position, if the correct abilities hit, they have the damage now, they have the durability to win these fights. But RNG, they're still playing the map game, right? We see both soul laners and side lanes pushing out waves. With Dragon up in 30 seconds, PSG are once again going to be forced in a position to retake vision. They're once again going to be forced to potentially walk through Sjokz against an Orianna ultimate. And that's just going to be very rough for their composition to do.
And this is impressive by RNG because I really do favor the outright team fighting of PSG Talon. I think champ for champ, I love their champions, at least 4 out of the 5. But RNG have gotten the map control and the vision control to make those normal team fights, battle lines drawn, not happening. TP's coming in now. This will be the battle for Cloud Soul. It has spawned and GALA can just open up right away. When can PSG challenge? Xiaohu forces out Hanabi. Gnar is ticking down. And once again, there is no contest. RNG grab Cloud Soul.
I mean, now is PSG. I don't know. Maybe you're just waiting to try to go for a smite battle over Elder, and then whoever wins there just wins the game. But This is what you're talking about, right? They're forcing PSG into these uncomfortable battle lines where they know they can't win the fight, where if they walk in, they guaranteed lose. We had everything up on both sides, so, you know, there were tools there, but the fact that I think Hanabi is forced out, it means Kaiwing's really your only frontline, your only true initiator. Sure, Udyr can run in, but not really the same, and yeah, they back off. Soul for RNG, and now I'm wondering, are we actually going to get action in this next 5 minutes, or are PSG going to keep playing the waiting game like they've been doing and say, hey, we wait for Elder? I really feel like PSG are just capitulating. I mean, look how scared Kaiwing looks. Look at his itemization. He went Zhonya's Hourglass second. I want to be clear. Leona has really bad AP ratios. Yeah.
Like, there are champions you can, like, kind of swing. The item is like, well, it's actually good. Like, Rel has good ratios, so maybe it's going to work out. Leona's are really trash. So it's functionally not text to have AP in this build. So he spent 2,600 on a Zhonya's active. You do not possibly care that much about a Zhonya's active. There's no way this is actually what you need, but he's so scared. He's taking so much damage from Dark Bindings, and he's afraid to frontline despite that being his job. This is really worrying to me that PSG have not walked into a single fight in the last 12 minutes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, right, where they haven't even been able to get into a position where it's like, okay, well, Kaiwing can walk in alongside Hanabi and River, and, you know, they can kind of share that burden, but RNG have just kept pulling them across the map. Hanabi hasn't been able to join a fight with his team either for, you know, the past 5 minutes. So Kaiwing, maybe the fear goes a little bit too far, but I can at least understand, hey, you know, where's my dive buddy right alongside me to help me get my team in the position to win these fights? Yeah. And now it's just gonna be ping-ponging back waves. I think PSG are gonna keep doing what they've been doing, which is, hey, we're gonna set a vision, we're gonna see if we can find a pick. But realistically, if RNG don't give over that pick, they're about 4K gold up, and I feel like they are fine with what they've been doing the past 5 minutes.
You see the gold difference growing and growing. The lead, which you expected in the first 10, and then it's all been RNG. 4 Cloud Drakes. That is some very short ulti cooldowns, by the way. I'm expecting a 2 Shockwave teamfight at some point, if PSG even live that long. We know Baron's coming back up in 35 seconds, and hey, guess what? Look at the vision line. Look where RNG is. They once again already own the top jungle. PSG have capitulated every part of the map they possibly could.
And you know, this is where RNG's comp needed to be. These were our question marks in early game. It's like, hey, since RNG don't have the engage, are they ever going to be in a position to control the map like this, where they can force them in?
Doggo forced a flash wave, face checking a brush. Kaiwing running backwards. TP is coming across. Shockwave will be dodged, but watch for the cooldown. It's going to be short with 4 Cloud Drakes. So, and a death cap online as well. Yeah, Cryin has come online for sure. These shockwaves are lethal. Here comes the Baron, and it's time to go. But oh, look, Kaiwing. He is recalling away as Baron's being started.
And this one's just got to be free for the side of RNG. PSG don't have anything they could do. You could even see them realize this by the fact that they're just staying in mid lane. Doggo actually starting to channel his recall. I think for the side of PSG now, you try and get some vision down bot side. You wait for that Elder to come up in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But now RNG, on top of the fact that they've already been winning out in side lanes and controlling these side items really well, Xiaohu's going to start having pressure to actually start taking down turrets. He has his TP up, so he doesn't necessarily need to group with this team just yet. And now we're going to see how much RNG can get with this Baron power play.
Well, Maple scaling up, though, and Maple is going to be scary. As you're mentioning, yeah, push around to the side lane, moving toward death cap. A 6-item Azir is obviously a gigantic threat, so that's going to be a concern if there ever is a real team fight on this side. But right now, it is RNG with, I believe, 5 straight neutral objectives, 3 dragons unanswered, the last 2 barons here as well, waiting for the wave to group up and then crashing in to knock down the turret. As reinforcements come across, Xiaohu just on the side lane splitting up. And of course, he's getting pretty close to done on build as well. Halfway to Randuin's Omen to hit 6 builds. The farm really adept, 403 CS, 500 down there for GALA, who's already at full build.
I also feel like this is just coming down to a battle of positioning, right? Especially between Maple and GALA, like you highlighted. Maple definitely going to be the main damage dealer for the side of PSG. GALA has been for RNG, but it's a bit rough now because, right, Cryine's kind of gotten into the fold. He actually already has the death cap. And heck, RNG might not even let this go to teamfights, Phreak. I might be thinking about teamfights for no reason because RNG are forcing down the base.
They're going to knock down bottom inhibitor turret. Bam! Maple G's at half health just from explosive charge, and once again, it is PSG tail between their legs retreating as RNG just take whatever they want.
And we got to remember that Gala's level 18 now, right? So his range is absolutely massive on this champion. Xiaohu might be looking for the 1v1.
He doesn't take damage. Like, realistically, like, what does he care about a stride breaker when he's got functionally 5.5 tank items there? So, yeah, walks up, clears the wave, burns the ulti, but again, 4 Cloud Drakes, who cares? Ori Shako, by the way, thank you, production. 45-second cooldown. 45 seconds with no intentionally itemized CDR in the build. Thank you, Cloud Drakes. Actually pretty good. Mid lane under fire. Turret is gone already. When will PSG choose to fight? Baron buff still on for 50 seconds. 2 inhibitors are down.
Yeah, and RNG gonna make the smart play. They're just gonna back off. With Dragon up in 30 seconds, they don't really care about the rest of the map. They're just gonna funnel in. They're gonna force PSG to walk into a place where they don't have any vision. It looks like they're gonna try and set up a pick here.
Good control by RNG. River walking up. Not going to find his engage just yet. He looks to walk forward's way. Has been on point with the black shields. It has made engages somewhat difficult. Been forced a little bit to sacrifice farm to his teammates as well. Only 266 CS. Udyr in kind of a similar boat. The junglers not really as much gold income. And a TP from Cryin to rejoin the squad because Elder Dragon is alive and GALA has already started it. And PSG, they're going to be too late to the party. Make it objective number 7. It's going to be claimed. And here's the team fight and it's already too late. The stopwatch lets him watch his team die. Gold indeed, as now damage is on towards Gnar. Backline fight comes in. Maple, it's not going to be enough. Everyone will drop. PSG Talon choose too late to find their moment, and Royal Never Give Up will take game 1 in somewhat climactic fashion. They get the battle, they get the ace, and they're gonna get the base.
And we see the strengths of RNG in this game. It's all about that mid and late game map control, the mid and late game team fighting come out. The bot lane, they were absolute stars in this game. I like that you also highlighted Wade, right? Because maybe his impact might have looked small, but those black shields stopping a lot of the picks coming out from PSG were massive. And then Xiaohu, once again, being that bridge from the early game into the mid game. This is what you need to see from RNG going forward into game 2 and 3. But the nice thing for PSG, right, was this was a more competitive game. Once again, PSG keeping it close, going toe-to-toe in that early game. It's just about, hey, you know, do you keep going with comps like this that, sure, they can technically fight back in late game and theoretically even win? Or do you just all in on your strengths and maybe say, hey, let's just try and get a comp that can snowball out of its mind?
Yeah, honestly, well played by RNG coming back from the early deficit and then just completely taking map control. That is kudos to Ming, especially, I think, for setting up the vision. Yep. Every time I watch PSG make a play, it was like, oh, they went for the jungle invade, but there's already wards there. Like, Ming saw this a minute ago that, oh, they're gonna get mid and push through bottom jungle. And, oh, look, I've got wards. Your invade means nothing. Like, the man is smart. The man played really well. The Braum was a surprise pick, but it worked nicely. The front line held firm the entire time through. So after the break, we'll see what the State Farm Analysts have to say about that game 1 win as RNG kicked things off 1-0.
Dear me, I just wanted to tell you that soon, everything you know will change. You're part of the breakout, part of an elite group of individuals that launched the global movement. The pioneers that changed the sole definition of a gamer. I'm you, from the future. And I just wanted to tell you that your future will be legendary. Exceed the game, unleash the future.
Smell irresistible. The new Axe Effect.
Hey, I didn't order any pizza.
Jake from State Farm. After you saved me so much dough on insurance with that Parker promo, I devised a promo for you.
Here's the deal, Parker. State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
Yeah, right. Pepperoni pockets, an atomic brownie, cuckoo crusties.
There's no promo, it's just great rates.
And a cider ranch. You're the man.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
back, everyone, to the Stay Farm Analysts, where RNG started the semifinal with a win in the longest game so far at MSI 2021. And I think if you're PSG, you don't want those games to go too long after you get ahead in the early game, on kills at least, because it was pretty even for the entire game. RNG was even ahead, even though it didn't always look it. Let's start by looking at the draft. Clement, we saw very cookie cutter, I would say, picks for Maple and for Hanabi. That Gnar Azir combo lane priority plus scaling is so typical from them. They love it. But was it also the right choice, you think, in this first game?
So if we look at this first draft, I would actually consider it a must-win draft for PSG right here. RNG is actually giving them a lot of leeway by picking a very slow composition and also blind picking their top laner, which means that you get to have a good matchup for Hanabi. You equalize the worst matchup you have on the map. And even with RNG going for this kind of a draft, PSG were not able to punish. So I think there's a couple really strong things that RNG did overall in this one. We are seeing Nocturne being banned out. Lee Sin instantly jumps the priority. I think that's going to be one of the most contested first picks right from the get-go. And another really cool adaptation here is throwing the Braum into the Leona. We know that both of these teams want to break apart Kai'Sa plus Nautilus. They do so, but they also have an answer to counter back. So really well done here by RNG. I think they really set a great tone for the rest of this series where they can afford to play slow and not be bothered by PSG.
Yeah, and I think even looking deeper into that bot lane, like Tristana Braum doesn't have to play super passive either. Like Hail of Blades on Tristana instantly procs the stun off of Braum's passive, and with Tristana's jump, Braum can also follow up off of that with his own. You saw how they were able to look for fights around the bottom lane, picking off Doggo here. Now, unfortunately, GALA does end up falling here as the turret aggro is dropped, and you saw that Kai'Sa Q also followed up off of that. But as soon as the bot lane became volatile, right off that play when summoner spells are blown, you know that both teams are going to send so much after the bottom lane, a 2v2 into so many TPs after.
And I think unfortunately for PSG, a lot of this game played out the way we set out it would go, right? They put a lot into the bottom lane. They try and negate that. They even try and make some plays happen, but they get some early kills. River actually has some good moments, but the gold is even. RNG is even ahead from the start, and that's not what you want as PSG.
No, and PSG, they got the early Drakes to try and force early game fights, but the problem is RNG's composition had so much going for it the later it got. Obviously, Tristana's range is going to become so oppressive. You outrange the Azir and the Kai'Sa both. Good luck, Udyr, ever trying to run into the backline and hit that. But also, as PSG try to find flanks with the Gnar, they can't ever do that because the rest of the team can never push through choke points. With Braum plus Orianna and most importantly of all, the black shield from Morgana, Kaiwing just doesn't have any ability to force fights. And we saw that after he tried one ultimate and it got black shielded, he didn't do anything, it seemed like, for the rest of the game.
And Clement, I know you all named the Morgana to be a crucial pick for RNG exactly because of this. So do you think this was an oversight from PSG? And I know that you also talked about that it looked like the Gnar timing and coming into the Mega Gnar to find the flanks was not exactly on point out of Hanabi.
I think that Morgana was crucial to this win coming in from RNG. As we've said in the pregame before, this has been a pick that RNG historically has been weak against, and they've banned consistently throughout the entirety of the Rumble stage. So being able to flip that pick and ban Nocturne instead is absolutely huge for the way they played. And I actually feel like the Black Shield is probably what forced the Leona to go into the Zhonya's build. That's you can see the desperation in Kaiwing to get those picks going by just upping that 0.8 AP ratio on Leona to, I don't think it's worth it, but that's what they were going to try for. So the Morgana was a huge pick, and the way they used it was also really smart. A lot of the times we saw the Morgana being able to cut off the Gnar from coming into the side lanes or actually being able to charge up his Gnar bar. So when PSG are picking a pick composition and they're unable to do anything on the side lanes, they're not able to come into the team fights with an actual frontliner, the team fight just falls apart. They got 0 Mega Gnar ultimates the entire time throughout the team fighting phase, this entire game, and Hanabi was honestly just a non-factor.
Yeah, we're being super harsh on PSG, I think, because to me at least, it looked like, yes, you lost that game, obviously, but you did have tools. They win a fight around the Cloud Drake. They actually come to Soul Point. They are able to even contest the Baron, but then they recall, and RNG, of course, flips the switch because they look for your indecision, right? They look for the mistakes you make, and then they immediately convert it into an objective. And I think that's also to the credit of RNG.
Yeah, it's like RNG weren't just going to like blow the game wide open and destroy PSG at any point. Like PSG did hold on, but you always felt like RNG were winning out, and PSG lost a lot of options post 30 minutes. And you can even see here how RNG just, they didn't even have immediate vision of PSG going off on those recalls, but they say, hey, let's just start the Baron. Let's see what happens. We have Tristana ult and Lee Sin kick. Lee Sin's not in this fight, but later on, like, how does River ever enter into the pit versus this? It is just not possible.
No, as we take a look at the drive to victory presented by Mercedes-Benz, unfortunately for PSG, that is all she wrote. And that is as cute as it's a
denied by a penguin. That just, it doesn't get any worse than that.
I wish we had more time to talk about this because there's a lot more to unpack, but RNG are the heavy favorites in today's semifinal, and they came out on top after the longest game at MSI so far. Let's see what PSG brings on the blue side in game 2.
They are the first one to make RNG lose.
Fantastic Q from Hanabi. He's still looking for more. Ming's going to be taken down by the double.
That's just beautiful.
Hey, there it is on knock. Turn spell shield on and just takes him down. A turret shot lets him live.
I think RNG is the stronger team overall.